This is part 3. Homosexuality. Is it African? The principal arguments by opponents of homosexuality in Africa is culture. Gay rights groups are always looking for evidence of homosexual practice in African history. Only this kind of evidence will help them counter the argument of culture successfully. For example, if I say it has never been part of our culture, so we can't accept it, but somebody comes and proves, you see, it was part of our culture. So now, how can you deny part of what was your culture? There are only a few credible sources on the Africanness of homosexuality. One of them is The Heart of Lavender, In Search of Gay Africa. It's an article somebody shared with me, a person called Gadara, when I asked for proof of gayism in African culture. That article was written by Eugene J. Patron. It was in the Harvard Gay and Lesbian Review, written in the fall of 1995. It was republished by Fordham University. It's a Jesuit university in New York. Jesuits, again, they owned slaves. They were bound by an oath not to seek higher office in the Roman Catholic Church, But now, a Jesuit occupies the highest office in the Catholic Church. Still, another Jesuit is one of my favorite priests on EWTN. So the Jesuits, there's something about them. I'm not sure about them. And perhaps that's why they are republishing this kind of literature in support of gayism. In this literature, they mention the Azande of the Democratic Republic of Congo. They mention the Fang people of Gabon. They mention same-sex marriages among the Nandi, what they call female husbands. So I examined this literature, and among the Azande, this is what I found. The nobility would marry women, marriageable women, and they would marry many of them because they are rich, they are wealthy. They left the young men without women to marry. And if a young man would have intercourse with one of the married people of the nobles, women of the nobles, there would be severe penalties, 20 spears and a woman. So you're actually having relations with a woman because there are no women, with a married woman because there are no women that are left for you. But now you have to produce a woman as payment for having relations with a married woman. It's a funny system. And that's why the men, they just let it go. And what they did, they resorted to masturbation, and they resorted to temporary marriages among boys, that they would marry their fellow men for some time until they are wealthy enough to become part of the nobility, to marry now, let's say, other women. So this was an instance of homosexuality mentioned in that article. There was the Gabon, the Fang people, and what I found was that there were instances of homosexual intercourse as a medicine for wealth. And among the Nandi, right, they had women had female husbands, and those the female wives, now the female husbands, the female wives would be there to produce children. So homosexual practice, as these guys were trying to mention, was not a norm. It was there because there was something that was happening in society and it was not right. One, the nobles were, taking on too many privileges in terms of women. Guys were seeking for wealth among the Gabon, the Fang people, and in the Nandi, guys couldn't bear children. So these cases of homosexuality, they were a result of anomalies in society. They were not a norm. And in the case of the Nandi, they did not have sexual intercourse. So in West Africa, there are other cases of homosexuality mentioned. but these cases were after interaction with the Arabs. The Baganda, other cases mentioned, but all cases after interaction with the Arabs and Europeans. And actually some guys were killed, Charles Liwanga and his companions, because they would not have sex with the Kabaka. So that's again one of the reasons why homosexuality persisted. So in September 2015, homosexuality is still with us today in the church. In September 2015, the ACK delivered a verdict on 5 pastors. The ACK tribunal found them guilty of the sin of homosexuality, and 4 of the 5 clergy were married with families. So guys keep saying that, Catholics should allow marriage between priests. Clergymen are having homosexual relations even when they are married. It's not a problem of celibacy. It's another problem. So one of the clergymen cited by this tribunal, he befriended the boys. He requested the boys to visit them in the church for spiritual guidance, and then he would seduce them and then have homosexual acts with them. So as you can see, it's not really a problem of when you have polygamy in society, there comes a problem. When people are seeking wealth, too much wealth, it becomes a problem. When people cannot have children, it becomes a problem. When people cannot commit in marriage, it becomes a problem. You get? So this rise of these things, they're not usually, as the history proves, they just don't arise because of, they arise because of some other things. So Jomo Kenyatta once said, there is no African word for homosexuality. And he said that this proves that homosexuality is foreign and totally un-African. President Moi said that Kenya has no room for homosexuals and lesbians. It is against African norms and traditions. In 2007, a study was done. 96% of Kenyan residents believe that we should not accept homosexuality as a way of life. But civil society is still trying to push it. And they're still receiving money from foreign governments and foreign organizations to push these agendas. So anyway, that is why in the interview between Barack Obama and in the press conference of Barack Obama and Uhuru Kenyatta, Uhuru actually said, it is very difficult for us to impose that which the people do not accept. 96% of Kenyans, right? So what if one day everyone accepted homosexuality as an alternative lifestyle? Of course, we'll cross the bridge when you get there. But again, there's always that principle of Christianity, that it's not the majority opinion that matters, but the truth of the situation. Just as I have examined the individual arguments, and I'm doing right now, whether it is African, whether it is natural, whether it's a choice, and all of those arguments, even if it is one person, then even if it is many people who accept homosexuality, we still must examine the arguments. So we know a couple of things about homosexuality in terms of Africanness. One, it is a materialistic ideology. For example, when the nobles, they took too many wives, they took too many women, problems occurred leading to homosexuality. Among the Fang people wanted to be wealthy, leading to homosexuality. And ACK bishops, right? You guys have wives, you guys have everything, but you're still looking for sexual pleasure outside of marriage. As in, yes, and then it's a foreign lifestyle because we don't have an example of its practice within Kenya unless where there are social anomalies. It is an African, as the presidents, they said, Kenyatta, Moi, and Uhuru, right?